Former President Jacob Zuma is refusing to be examined by doctors recommended by the National Prosecuting Authority. He says he's tired of his claims of ill health being treated with distrust. The foundation's accusing the state of second-guessing the medical report produced by the military doctors responsible for the former president's care. Let's now speak to the Jacob Zuma Foundation spokesperson, Mzwanele Manyi. Mr. Manyi, thank you so much for making time. Before we get to our story, I'm sure you've also received the sad news of the passing of the eNCA President Kirby Mapatsu this afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, Clement, and good afternoon to your viewers. Indeed, President Zuma and the foundation convey their heartfelt condolences. Comrade Kirby was a very close person to His Excellency President Zuma. He's been a very strong supporter of President Zuma, and indeed he had given the eNCA proper direction in terms of its own articulations and posture on various issues, as it were. I think he'll be sorely missed by the rest of the country.
Yeah, thank you for reflecting on that, Mr. Manyi. Has the former president refused to be examined by the doctors appointed by the NPA?
Can I just answer this question this way? There are two issues here. Firstly, there's posture of President Zuma in terms of how his medical situation is being dealt with by the authorities. And then there is another situation of what is the case at hand at Pietermaritzburg as we speak. Now, on the first one, very briefly, President Zuma's attitude is one where, for lack of a better word, it's actually hurtful in terms of how he's being treated. And he's saying there's been a pattern here. The pattern starts in Pietermaritzburg High Court, where Judge Pillay is the first person to second-guess a medical certificate that was presented to say President Zuma is not well. So much that she distrusted this medical certificate to an extent that she even ordered a warrant of arrest for the next appearance because she thought this was just some fake or something. And it turned out that that medical certificate was indeed legitimate. The second instance is at the State Capture Commission with DCJ Zondo saying to the lawyers of President Zuma when they were discussing his ill health that he himself will go and talk to the doctors himself to establish the real facts of the matter, as it were, a threat that he did not actually even carry out. That's the second instance. The third instance is now where an infrastructure has been put into place to second guess the opinion or the view of the South African military hospital. Now, President Zuma is saying, why is this that I'm treated like some kind of a liar here? I mean, a crazy can say I'm sick and everybody agrees. But President Zuma says, I'm not well. Doctors say I'm not well. Yeah. But the judiciary of this country has a system of second-guessing that. So that is the attitude and the posture of President Zuma, and objection, general objection, because of how he's been treated. That's the one set of issues. But where are we as we sit now as regards to Pietermaritzburg case? As that case obtains right now, is that on Friday, there was that medical report that was expected to have come on the 20th of June and couldn't come because of unforeseen medical situation that was reported on the 15th of June that had to go through some medical.
Yeah.
It has now been put forward. Now, as we speak now, the NPA is seized with that report to make its attitude on that report. Now, if there are reports that President Zuma has refused and so on, firstly, if that is indeed true, that is refused, there would be two grounds that he would have been in his right to refuse that. Number one, no person can be forced to undergo any medical examination by anyone without that person's consent. So if indeed behind the scenes that would have happened and President Zuma had refused, that refusal would have been very much in line with his constitution, right? Number one. Number two, I think it's important to underscore the fact that it's not even ripe yet for that second opinion to be discussed, because the first issue that the NPA must cross is the report that they've been given. They still have not advised our legal team what is their attitude on this report.
Okay, Mr.
Or Zuma. So we're still waiting for that. So to be talking about something else is actually premature.
Yeah, help me understand here, because my understanding was that his lawyer, Advocate Dalimpofu, agreed earlier this month to the order that the state may grant a medical practitioner of its choice to examine the former president to assess his ability to stand trial and for that doctor to be a witness if necessary. So what's changed in that regard? If when the order was made and the order was granted to the NPA, the former president's lawyer didn't raise any objections?
Two things. One, I'm reliably informed that there is a dispute on the understanding of that. So I would leave that for a later discussion for the lawyers to clarify what was their understanding of that. But from a layman point of view, with what you've just said, you mentioned very two key words there of if necessary. Now, I think just between me and you dealing with it at a layman level, I think the NPA has got to cross that bridge of if necessary. What is it that made it necessary for them to be wanting a second opinion as things stand right now? And this is the question that would be interested to know.
Yeah, if necessary,
second guessing?
Yeah, if necessary is in relation to the witness. Sorry, Mr. Manyi. If necessary is in relation to the doctor testifying. That's not in relation to the NPA being granted this opportunity for its own doctors to examine the former president. So that, if necessary, is only in relation to whoever doctor that examines the former president. If necessary, that doctor can come and testify.
The second opinion will only be required if there's an issue with the first opinion. Automatically, there must be conditions precedent for the second opinion to be ripe, and we would argue that the NPA must make a case for the ripeness of that condition.
But was that part of the order? Because that wasn't part of the order. So when the NPA was allowed to have their own doctors examine the former president, the condition wasn't that if they are not satisfied with the report that's submitted by the former president's lawyer, former president's doctors.
Yeah. No, look, I think this is where I said to you earlier that there is the information I've just received that apparently there's a misunderstanding. There's a dispute on the understanding of that order. I hear what you're saying, but I think there are different understandings of what the order looks like. And I think it's the legal space, that one, where I think at some point we'll have to consult the legal team of President Zuma to help us issue a statement to clarify their understanding of the order. But as things stand right now, there's one understanding, there's another understanding. There's a dispute in the understanding of the order.